What if the captain of the Titanic, instead of going down with the ship, was the first one to flee, leaving thousands of people to die? That exact thing happened on a ship twice the size of the Titanic, and the story is even crazier than you can imagine. This is the insane story of the Costa Concordia, a $500 million floating palace brought down not by an iceberg, but by the ego of one man. We're going to uncover how a secret affair, a daredevil stunt, and a series of unbelievable lies led to a disaster that should never have happened. And you will not believe what this captain told the Coast Guard when they found him safe on the shore while his ship was sinking. Stick around for that. Look at this thing. The Costa Concordia was a masterpiece, 951 feet long, with 13 decks, swimming pools, theaters, and marble bathrooms. It was a dream vacation for the 4,200 people on board that night in January 2012. But their dream was about to turn into a nightmare, all thanks to this man, Captain Francesco Schettino. His own company called him the rock star captain. He was a show-off, famous for performing a risky maneuver called a sail by salute. Basically, steering his massive ship dangerously close to shore just to wave at people. He loved the thrill, the risk, and on this night, he had someone special he wanted to impress. Meet Dominika Chmurtin, a 26-year-old dancer who was also the captain's secret lover. She wasn't even supposed to be on the ship. She didn't have a ticket. But Schettino didn't just bring her on board. He brought her to the one place no unauthorized person should ever be, the ship's command bridge. This is where the recipe for disaster begins. Mistake number 1. For a 7-day cruise, no emergency drill was ever conducted for the passengers. They had no idea what to do if something went wrong. Mistake number 2. To impress his mistress and an old friend on the nearby island of Giglio, Schettino decides to perform one of his reckless sail-by salutes. But here's the most unbelievable part. He forgot his glasses! I'm not kidding. The man in charge of 4,200 lives admitted he couldn't see the radar properly. He was steering a 114,000-ton ship, effectively blind, asking his first officer to be his eyes. What could possibly go wrong? At 9:44 p.m., it happened. Traveling way too fast and dangerously off course, the Costa Concordia slammed into an underwater reef. The impact tore a 170-foot gash, half the length of a football field, into the side of the ship. Water flooded 5 separate compartments, including the engine room. The lights went out. The ship began to tilt. The passengers knew something was terribly wrong. But instead of sounding the abandoned ship alarm, Captain Schettino did something truly unforgivable. He lied. For almost an hour, the crew was ordered to tell the thousands of terrified passengers that it was just a small electrical problem and that everything was under control. They even lied to the Coast Guard, all while an officer was reporting water up to his neck in the engine room. They were trapped on a dying ship, being told everything was fine. Finally, at 10:30 p.m., the officers on the bridge had enough. In an unprecedented move, they staged a mutiny, going against their captain to finally sound the abandoned ship alarm. But it was too late. The ship had tilted so far that lifeboats on one side were completely unusable. Many crew had only minimal training, sometimes just a 37-minute video, leading to confusion during the evacuation. Some crew members even took life jackets from passengers and fled for their own safety. Passengers had to save themselves. They formed human chains to cross the tilted decks. Some jumped into the freezing ocean to swim for shore. And tragically, some people were trapped in the elevators when the power failed. They drowned without a chance. And where was Captain Schettino in all this chaos? The rock star captain? He was one of the first to make it to the shore. He abandoned his ship, his crew, and his passengers. His excuse? He told authorities he accidentally fell into a lifeboat. This led to one of the most infamous radio calls in history. The furious Coast Guard commander, after realizing the captain had deserted his post, screamed at him over the radio, a line that would go viral worldwide.
Ricordi i soccorsi da bordo. Lei si rifiuta?
No, non mi sto rifiutando.
Lei si sta rifiutando di andare a bordo, comandante?
No, ci sto andando.
E mi dica qual è il motivo per cui non ci va.
Ci sto andando perché ci sta l'altra lancia che si è fermata.
Lei vada a bordo, è un ordine. Lei non deve fare altre valutazioni. Lei ha dichiarato l'abbandono nave. Adesso comando io. Lei vada a bordo. È chiaro?
Comandante,
Non mi sente?
sto andando a bordo.
Vada.
While Captain Coward was making excuses on land, real heroes were emerging. The 1,400 residents of the tiny island of Giglio were the first responders. Their mayor personally made trips back and forth on a small boat, saving over 40 people himself. Heroic crew members, like a Hungarian violinist and an Indian waiter, gave up their spots on lifeboats and sacrificed their lives to save children and other passengers. In the end, 32 people lost their lives in a disaster that was 100% preventable. The salvage operation to remove the ship was the largest in maritime history, a monumental effort to clean up one man's mess. Francesco Schettino was sentenced to 16 years in prison, but to this day, he has never taken full responsibility. He still claims he's a hero. What do you think? The story of the Costa Concordia isn't just about a shipwreck, it's a terrifying reminder that no amount of advanced technology can protect us from human arrogance and cowardice. This disaster forced the entire cruise industry to implement sweeping new safety rules, making your next cruise safer because of the lessons learned here. If you find stories like this that uncover the shocking truths behind major events fascinating, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You won't want to miss what we're diving into next.